September 30th, 1955 would mark the end of James Dean's life and a drastic change to Donald Turnipseed's life forever. Pretty often spoken about how James Dean would have gotten better and how his legacy preserved all these years later, but had he lived to 25 and on, how much better he would have gotten as an actor. But it's never quite talked about what happened with the college student who was also involved in said car wreck, Donald Turnipseed. Here you see a young Donald Turnipseed's picture in the top right-hand corner. He lived a pretty private life. Before and after the incident, he was constantly being bombarded and getting death threats even, especially on the anniversary of James' passing, September 30th of every year. He would always get bothered, and he lived a rather private life and tried to block out the noise to the best of his ability. This was the Ford Tudor that Donald was driving on that fateful day where he collided with James Dean. This Ford Tudor, compared to James' Porsche that he was driving, it's 2 times the size, way bigger of a car. James obviously broke his neck, broke both of his arms, had horrible external injuries. There was no reviving James. Very little chance he would have lived on. There had been talks over the years that if he had a neck brace applied right away, it probably would have saved him. I don't know. But he had a pretty faint pulse at the scene. Donald managed to escape with minor injuries and was told to hitchhike home before someone picked him up, and that certain somebody that picked him up later would do interviews that would state that Donald was worried the entire time he was driven home by these people. He didn't know it was James Dean, which obviously made the situation worse, but he was more so constantly worried about the person that he crashed into and not knowing if they were going to live. Now, Donald was not tried for manslaughter. He was never found even at fault for the situation. However, if you go back and read what actually happened, it sounds like James had the right of way. Donald didn't see him. Donald turned and James did not slow down, and it was a horrible accident. Keyword there is accident, but Donald for the rest of his life had to live with that accident. After living a low-profile life for the last 40 years of his life, he would unfortunately succumb to lung cancer. In 1995, at the age of 63 years old, he was survived by his wife, a daughter, 2 sons, a stepson, and 5 grandchildren. Donald was very intelligent. He went to college, graduated from there. He founded his own company that's still going today, established a family, was all in all a very smart dude. But again, the accident that happened back in 1955, no matter what he was able to accomplish in life, that'll probably always be the first thing that comes to mind when you think of the name Donald Turnipseed.